Hey everybody, I'm Katallina, and today we're talking about Remonster Episode 7. This week's episode was quite different from those that came before it in several key ways. First, we had only 2 days covered here. One where Gobrou, now known as Ogre, was talking to the Elven Chief, and one with a massive battle that took up the majority of this week's screen time. They did a really good job of using this shift in pacing to show us a well-organized battle against the humans that had solid pacing, actual consequences, and the first real challenge we've seen Gobrou face since episode 2, when he fought Red Bear. This time, his opponent is a human warrior who has been blessed by the gods. There were apparently 8 of these people, and the one highlighted here had an affinity for various insects. The contrast between this snivelly, weaselly prick and Gobrou was very stark, and I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't looking forward to seeing Gobrou have him for lunch, as an appetizer, not a guest. But for once, that didn't happen. For what I think may be the first time, ever, we saw someone fight Gobrou and actually escape. I'd be impressed if the little puke hadn't been such a flat-up annoyance. He was looking down on Gobrou, like he could take Gobrou out at any time of his choosing. But in the end, his obnoxious ass got away with nothing left on him except for his own skin. But it wasn't just a matter of Gobrou not getting to have a new meal that shifted in this episode. Outside of the group of hobgoblins who broke off from the camp a few episodes past, this is also the first time we've directly seen Gobrou and friends take losses in a battle. It was actually kinda heart-wrenching seeing great big Gobkichi standing there with tears pouring down his cheeks. The big fella came off as such a blockhead. One wouldn't expect him to care about this sort of thing. But then, he's also the one character we've seen who seems to have a single partner with the female hobgoblin Earth Mage. So I think it's safe to guess that, as far as an ogre can be, he's tough on the outside but a softie on the inside. I've liked him since the beginning, so it was really sweet seeing him behaving like this, even though in the same way it was tragic. It shows that these characters, even the most fierce and most dangerous of the lot, can still potentially have emotional connections to things that we wouldn't necessarily expect when we see them on the battlefield. He wasn't the only one who was weeping or saying parting words to those who had passed, though. For me, this is interesting because it potentially serves as a warning to the viewer that these characters are not as safe as we may think they are, which is probably a good thing for this show, since one thing that I've been hearing as I look around and see people talk about it is the fact that Gobrou and friends seem like they're getting to be at a point where they are too invulnerable, which could make people kind of check out emotionally, which is definitely not something we want, because the underlying character philosophies and morals and emotionality of the show is something that makes it really interesting. The fact that these characters do not function on the same level that we function on in our world, that we are exploring a world that is very different than our own, I think is one of the real draws of Remonster. Gobrou's reaction to their deaths wasn't as mushy as Gobkichi or some of his friends. Rather, he pledged to keep living for those who had given their lives, to honor their sacrifice, and to follow the burning desire to live that exists like a flame within his own heart. Overall, I thought this was a really great episode. It was interesting to see the pace slow down and to zoom in on a key set of moments that would allow us to have a bit more connection and depth with the characters. Now that the humans have gained access to the forbidden elven magic, will they actually use it to heal the princess, or will they fight more with the goblins? Can some other solution or peace be reached? The show continues to hold my attention from start to finish every week, and I can't wait to see what will happen next. So, what did you guys think of this week's episode? Was there something that stood out to you? Is there something that I missed? I'd love to know, so feel free to drop a comment below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!